The final part 7 of this tutorial, are conclusions and some thoughts on the road ahead. I've given you in the previous hours some overview on the physical layer design and medium access control design, as well as issues on the channel modeling for distributed cooperative networks. I've not gone into great mathematical details. That was not the aim, as I said at the beginning. The aim was rather to give you an overview of latest developments, to stipulate your interest, and maybe to inspire to apply your own knowledge. We believe that capacity in algorithmic physical layer design is very well explored, although clearly there are many unsolved problems, but as such, that topic is quite well understood. So we believe that contributions are very likely to be fairly incremental. What we are lacking today are RF issues, RF solutions, medium access control solutions, true cross-layer design solutions which span from physical layer up to the application layers. That is really in its infancy, and here we believe is a lot of room for innovative contributions. That can be facilitated by also maybe total novel approaches for the system design, which could be borrowed from physics or from biology. For instance, recent approaches have suggested that the information propagation through a network can be described by using elements of Maxwell's electromagnetic propagation through a network. As such, Stavros Toumpis has proposed to use a static electromagnetic scenario to describe the propagation of information. Also, biological approaches could be used, although I usually caution my students because, as fancy as it sounds, biological systems are not a priori designed to be extremely efficient. They are designed to be extremely robust. For instance, if we take the example of our brain, it is certainly not operating at its full efficiency, but it is an entity which is very robust and works over many years very reliably. So therefore, novel concepts shall be used, can be used, are encouraged to be used, but really to increase maybe the reliability and the robustness of the network, maybe the security, trust, and integrity of data transmission, but not with the prime aim to enhance the efficiency. We also believe that we need today commercial products, be they sensor networks or ad hoc networks, and we need that in the light of cooperative systems, be they simple relaying systems, be they truly distributed MIMO cooperative systems, and that is evolving with the 802.16 group. So we have hope that real products will emerge because ad hoc networks have been researched for the past 3-4 decades, and except the military, no true viable commercial product has emerged. What we also believe is that business studies need to be conducted which give us the true gains of these systems. What I dealt with today was really the physical layer, the medium access control. It was more a technological approach. We have seen that significant gains can be actually obtained with these systems. But the question remains, if we use it in the context of a large system, would we really be able to gain what the physical and macro layer promise? And it turns out that Bogdan Timos from KTH has written an interesting piece, which is reference 95 on that issue, a very preliminary study, but nonetheless a very valuable study on that issue, which is definitely worth reading. He, for instance, questions under which circumstances is it actually worth rolling out these relay systems. Now, he has looked not in a purely ad hoc type of relay systems, but rather at a relay system which we are interested in as a cellular operator, meaning you would have some fixed relays, maybe fairly randomly distributed, but nonetheless fixed, which help and facilitate the relaying and the capacity balance in the system. He has analyzed it, and it turns out that using such a deployment only brings you gain if the relay cost is about 10% of the base station cost. So therefore, that means that you need to make sure that the relays are cheap, and in that case you would gain certainly some things, but not necessarily as much as the physical layer itself promises. He also showed that actually MIMO techniques do not yield these huge gains. It is worthy having, certainly if you have multiple elements able to relay data, it might be more worth using selection techniques rather than fully distributed MIMO techniques because they yield very similar results. He also showed that a very careful network planning is needed if you use these type of fixed relays. You need type of TDMA relay scheduling planning. You cannot just have a random deployment. And also the problem is if you use wireless LAN type systems using the ISM band, you have the problem of interference. So that is an open issue which needs to be tackled today. Also, what is interesting to be considered, which he has not, is to look at the deployment speed, and he has alluded at this in his thesis, the deployment speed of these wireless systems. It is clear that rolling out a wireless LAN type of relay system at low cost can be done fairly quickly, whereas buying sites and building base stations is a very lengthy and mostly very expensive process. Also, what we are lacking today are reliable system-level simulations which take realistic traffic distributions and realistic mobility patterns into account. We need good routing protocols which might be able, in the case of cases, to route data over long distances, although here at France Telecom we believe that the hop distance will not exceed 3, 4 or 5 hops. So we don't believe that there will be very large relaying ad hoc systems which are commercially viable simply because the reliability of such links is very low. It might be worthy in systems where you have no other choice, such as wireless sensor networks, which might be rolled out randomly over a forest. In that case, you would need very reliable routing protocols, which are also cross-optimized in terms of with medium access control, maybe with the application layers, so joint aggregation can be performed. So what are open issues in this area is really a cross-layer design where you jointly optimize from the application layer down to the physical layer a whole protocol stack, particularly for energy-constrained wireless sensor networks, and that is certainly an issue worth pursuing. I will stop this tutorial here. Thank you for listening. I hope you found it very useful. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email me at any time at mischa.dohler@orange/ftgroup.com. You will also find my details in the internet. Thank you very much and goodbye.